What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jack Ramsays post-game show. What the hell was that? The Portland Trailblazers fall to Oklahoma City's Thunder 98-81. The Trailblazers score 50 total points over the final three periods. 16 points in the second, 14 points in the third, 20 points in the fourth. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Simons has had more individual brilliance than that in quarters multiple times this year. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague, welcome in. If you're here, we appreciate you. You're a masochist. I don't know what to say, Brandon, other than the fact that that's the worst game I've seen this year.
Why are we here? I mean, like this is the kind of game that almost warrants me like wondering what we're doing right now. Like, we know what this team has needed to do, and yet we allowed 6 goddamn games to think that this was maybe something, maybe don't do this and don't do that. This team has sucked all year. They continue to suck. And when you get the break speed off you by a 14-win team after being up by 18 yourself, that's a problem. And I don't know. I'm not really going to go into much individual stuff. I think this was a collective F, like a flat out F.
Everybody sucked tonight except for Trent and Watford. That is my analysis of the game tonight.
But to me, like, Danny, it's not just like saying, "Oh, everybody sucked tonight." Like, there was a lot of "I don't give a damn" tonight, and that's a really, really troubling thing.
Because we thought we'd kind of gotten over that hurdle, even though things were going sideways and everybody kind of knew what the position was going to be for the rest of the year. Like they're chasing ping pong balls. That was going to happen. And you know what? I did promise this the other night. This is a new tradition, Brandon. Let me make sure I've got it. Let me turn on display capture. There we go. All right, let me pull this down. Make sure everybody can see it. All right, we'll pull it up. We'll get rid of the ads so that we don't share those. They're paying me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's click the sim lottery button. The Portland Trailblazers get the number 2 overall pick. It's a good loss, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good loss. Look at that. Would you look at that? Houston number 1, Portland number 2, Indiana number 3. Wow, Orlando, Detroit, and OKC all getting screwed with multiple teams moving up in the lottery. The NBA would hate that.
Would it?
I mean, probably.
Why do we keep rewarding the shittiest franchises who pick the shittiest players, or they have the shittiest developmental system? Yes. I'm tired of rewarding these bad teams with all these.
Which is why they flattened out the lottery odds.
Good. Let Portland get the second pick in the draft and contemplate their future.
Let them decide between Ben Carroll and Chet Holmgren.
Well, look, I have a theory, and it's not a theory that probably is backed up by much fact. But I have a theory the NBA has been rigging the lottery every time a small to medium market team loses their star. Look at Cleveland. Look at New Orleans with Anthony Davis. Like, I just have a feeling that if something were to happen, at least Portland would get rewarded.
Is Damian Lillard on the heels of Brandon Roy and LaMarcus going very quickly? Listen, I'm here for some conspiracy, baby. I'll grab the tinfoil hat. I'll throw it on. I don't care. No hair.
I don't know
care.
what else to talk about. I mean,
I refuse to talk about the game. You know what? For everybody who's listening in the podcast format, because I've seen some people say, we really appreciate the game recaps, and we can say this. Here's your game recap. The Blazers played relatively well in the first quarter, then sucked horrendously for 3 quarters. There's your recap. They were awful. CJ McCollum was in his bag for a quarter and a half. Everybody else, including my guy Ant, who I love, maybe his worst game.
It felt like his worst game for sure. I don't know what his stats ended up being. It felt like his worst game.
I think he ended up 3 of 16, 2 for 12. It's not just the misses; it was a lack of aggression.
There was no impact. The impact by Ant can be felt without him just scoring. I felt zero impact.
It looked like he was on the outside, just like, all right, I guess I'll shoot this. But it wasn't. To be fair, it wasn't just him. That was prevalent among the entire team. Okay, I guess I'll take this shot.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it was. Like at the beginning, it felt like everybody collectively just saying, I'm shooting the ball. No, I'm shooting the ball. No, I'm shooting the ball. And then eventually it was just like they passed and someone will go, I guess I'll shoot. There you go. And half the time they were getting back on defense in the second half. That was a collective quit. And I know that losing games is better for this franchise. I talked about that in the pregame. right? I talk about
we all acknowledge this, but like the watchability factor, that was painful.
Well, but it's not just that to me, Danny. It's about who's still on your roster. You make trades and this happens because your roster's depleted. Like I'm not shocked. I'm just shocked that like
two of the three guys that you're keeping supposedly and building around.
Yes, one doesn't share the basketball, and the other one just did an interview where basically he talked about how he's getting better and he wants to be built around in this city. Like you both played tonight. That's what you did against a 14-win team.
And this isn't even like a knee-jerk reaction. I've had this reaction since the second I heard that line from Jason Quick from Jusuf Nurkic in Jason Quick's article. They are insane if they think they can run it back with those three. Absolutely certifiably insane.
Nobody will go to those games. Like that ticket will be $5.
Coincidentally tonight, somebody sent me a thing. There were tickets to the Pacers game tonight for $1.
Probably costs more to process the ticket than it did for the ticket itself.
You think ownership anywhere would like that?
No, but that will be Portland.
There's
no variation of basketball for me that's realistic in the realm of Portland. There's no version that makes sense for that to come back. Throw somebody out that you acquire. That's a nonsensical take.
Yeah. And I think they'd still do okay, but coming out of COVID, coming out of this season, even the most casual fans would probably look at that and be like, I'm good.
I will protest the team.
I have sent text messages to other people. If they legitimately did it, I would take a long, hard look about covering this team. Legitimately.
And I would be right there with you saying, probably not worth it.
Because for me to invest this much time into something,
that's an unserious franchise.
Patently unserious is kind of what I have coined, like the Kings, a patently unserious franchise. Like they just chase whatever is fun or stupid in whatever's happening that week. The Blazers have done the opposite of that. They have chased the same rabbit for 6 years. You're never going to catch it.
Nope.
You're not getting any closer.
No.
In fact, you're getting older and you're falling further behind. And now the other teams that were behind you are catching up or have passed you.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Memphis, Phoenix.
Yes.
Like you were getting lapped.
Golden State fell behind you and then they came back.
Like this is
Utah lost their point guard and wing player. They're ahead of you right now. Yeah. Like it is that. It's bad, man. It's a special kind of bad, and they better make a move, and they better make it soon. I said this in the live watch party. I could end up looking stupid because these guys will play on Wednesday. If you told me that was some of these dudes' last game, and that's kind of what this was, and that's why it was so weird and off.
Well, here's the thing. I had heard, and I haven't really said much, but I had heard that there could be movement in the next 48 hours.
I won't be shocked if that's what it was, and that's why it felt so weird. It's like everybody knows.
Somebody knows that somebody's getting moved. Yeah, that could track. Yep. And then they could get right back on time. They could get back on track and doing what they were doing. That would make sense.
You're not a good enough team to not care about this game, first of all. Second of all,
no.
As I've said probably too many times to count, I've been to Oklahoma City. There ain't shit to do in that city. I've been there. You're not going you
stay late in Chicago. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Stay late in Chicago. That's fine.
Little Lou Malnati's, little heavy.
Dear Lord,
little
man.
Carb overload. What's the Portillo's, the hot dog place?
But what do you do when you get to Oklahoma City? What do you do? Sleep? Like you got nothing else to do, unless you want to see a Mickey Mantle statue.
Is that where he's from?
No, he's not even from there. I think he just played on the minor league baseball team.
I think Mantle's from North Dakota.
Yeah, I think he played in the minor league baseball. It's right off their stadium.
This is gonna be a weird tangent. When I was stationed in Grand Forks, one of my really good friends was a fighter pilot for the North Dakota National Guard, which is in Fargo. He went to the Catholic school where I think it was Mantle. It was one of the Yankees. I'm almost certain it was Mantle.
Is it DiMaggio?
I think it was Mantle.
Okay.
Anyways, like his actual desk from like 1st through 5th grade is still there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, like there's it's kind of weird because it's a Catholic school, but it's like a shrine to what it is. But my buddy
kind
said,
of the opposite of the religion. But,
kind of, yeah. That's what I said too. And I was like, that's a little strange, but whatever.
Is that a false idol over there?
Kind of, but it was one of those things where he was like, yeah, no, it was like a special treat to sit in that desk. And I was like, it's kind of weird. Like I said, weird random tangent, but like that one always stood out for me. James asks, is OKC known for any kind of food? Yeah, shitty food.
It's a lot of like French, like Sonic. I was introduced to Sonic when I was 10 and I had no clue what it was. My aunt was like, you wait till we take you to Sonic. And we went to Sonic and I was like, it's a shittier McDonald's.
That serves hot dogs.
With limeade options. Cool.
Hey, listen, I will flat out admit I have made a trek to Wilsonville to Sonic.
Look, it has its time and place.
Listen,
it has its time and place.
There's just sometimes like, where can you get a dog? You can't get a dog anywhere around here. It's very frustrating. That's my
dogs are underrated at a lot of spots.
So Mano was born in Oklahoma. So there's Yankee. You know what? I'm going to do this now.
Is that what it was? He was born in Oklahoma. I just talked about this on my radio show too, and I can't remember what it was.
It wasn't. It was Roger Maris.
That's yeah, Roger Maris. That tracks.
Okay. Yeah, They moved to Grand Forks, where I was stationed at.
Gotcha.
In 1938, long time ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Good times. Good times. This is single-handedly one game, but it's one game in a season, Brandon, where there has been multiple versions of this. But I want rank the shitty games for me. Like, where does this one fall?
Oh, give me a minute. Let me pull up the schedule real quick. I just had it up. Because this season has been, the equivalent from my mind, doing this pod with you has been fun, but this season's been so shitty that it feels like it's 3 different seasons. I think the fact that you've lost to Sacramento twice, just on its own, when you look at where they're at, it's hard to beat that because, again, it happened twice.
Mm-hmm.
Other shitty losses,
like getting absolutely housed by the Nuggets
the
2
Orleans
weeks ago was like, whatever.
Danny, the New Orleans game was pretty bad. The New Orleans game was awful. And New Orleans wasn't. They were even worse than what they are right now. Like, I'm going to say it's Sacramento. It's this, probably number one for me.
I want to put the Spurs game. Lead. The December Spurs game. 114-83. They got humiliated in that game.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, they were getting worked. I'm still going to go this one. The Sacramento 2-time losses is going to be one joint, then San Antonio. I think that's a good point.
That's the thing. Like, getting your ass kicked by a good team, like even that shorthanded Nuggets team, like
it is what it is.
Whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But the Lakers dropped 139 on you on New Year's Eve. That was a fun one.
Oof. Boy, that game was wrapped up quick, wasn't it?
I would put this up there as one of the 3 worst losses of the year. Not just because it's Oklahoma City and not just because of the score and how ugly the game was, but because of entirely divorced from Oklahoma City. Just the way the Blazers looked on every facet. And it's a make or miss league and all that stuff, but they looked like this in the third quarter against Houston. They looked like this in the second quarter against Chicago. Like, this has been, kind of brewing for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they looked like this for 3 quarters against Oklahoma City. 5 of your last, 12 quarters, you've looked awful. Awful. That's a lot.
I'm going to have to push back with you on that. I mean, we're arguing about the dumbest part of this season, but but maybe it's worth arguing about. San Antonio was bad. It was like an instant, you're down 30. Good luck. Good night. The Kings games, again, you lost twice to Sacramento, who is, they're bad. Danny, they were up 18 in this game, and they lost by 20.
Yeah.
A 40-point swing to a 14-win team. To a 14-win with Jusuf Nurkic and CJ McCollum playing. And, not to just pin it 100% on them, but dear God, if we're talking about running it back, yes, we need to start there. Ant was awful. Like, Cove was bad. Like, nobody.
Cove was 0 for 5. Like, Norm was 6 of 15. Nurk was 7 of 12. CJ was 10 of 17. But the defense collectively was a dumpster fire.
They didn't try.
Nurk was a minus 22. Like, they tried to get him going, and then they're like, this isn't going to work. And they just got cooked over and over again. And the 3-guard stuff is definitely showing up. Shout out to Eric Gunderson, who tweeted out the very obvious but very poignant. Looks like Nasir Little mattered a lot.
Yes, he did.
Who knew having a 6'6" wildly athletic dude was a good thing?
Isn't that crazy how that happens?
It's just like, and people are like, "Oh, CJ did this and Norman did that." Listen, guys, everybody was asked tonight.
You lose by 20 points to the Thunder. Nobody
escapes. Listen, everybody knows I'm an Ant guy through and through. I guarantee you, he will tell you he had just an awful game.
Oh, it's easily his worst game of the year.
Yeah, and maybe it's probably his worst game as a pro, to be honest. And it had nothing to do with the shooting splits. Obviously, impact that, but just he felt so tertiary to what was happening on the floor.
Yeah,
and I felt like you and I were talking about this during the watch party. It felt like Norm, CJ, and Nurk kind of knew this feeling of like they may be gone or somebody may be gone, and they're like, I'm just gonna get some shots up.
Yep.
See what happens.
Yep. I mean, am I crazy? Am I just reaching for a bad loss, like an excuse? Like not even an excuse, but just I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but
I don't think so. Jared Calley here says if your expectations are where they should be this season, this loss shouldn't bother you. This sets in motion what needs to happen with this franchise.
100% agree with that.
That's the hope. That's the hope. In the write up for this is one I wrote up, and I and sometimes people don't see these or don't have a chance to read these. But is this a one-game situation for the team that spent a lot of time on the road? Is this a sign of things to come? With less than 2 weeks before the NBA trade deadline and notes of the Blazers running it back with a core of Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Jusuf Nurkic, games like this, no matter how shorthanded they are, have to ring bells at the offices of one center court. If they don't, and I'm not asking for game-by-game reaction, because that's the kind of thing that the Kings do. That's what bad franchises do. But you can't look at this and not go, Jesus. Like, we all knew in December. Like, the general idea when this season started, you and I both said, Dame doesn't look right. Physically, he doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And guess what? He wasn't right. We get to December, and this isn't to talk about how right or how wrong we are, how glorious we are. We get plenty of shit wrong.
I mean, we literally bet the opposite of every outcome.
Literally, I did not have a single bet hit tonight. Not one. Not one.
If I would have just faded myself, I would have made
Good God, fade me
money.
hard tonight. That's the second parlay I've done this year. I won the first one, the second one I just got absolutely obliterated. So don't think I'm trying to gas us up here. That's not where I'm going with this. But like the big scheme things, you could tell Dame wasn't right. In early season, very early season, game 3, game 4, what were we talking about? The vibes don't feel right, man.
Yep.
Vibes don't feel right. And it was evident very quickly that the vibes were not right beyond Dame being hurt. And it felt like a lot of those issues were solved. They were solved. And then that Ant goes on his run. The vibes are kind of right. And over the last couple days, as they're out on the road again, with everybody back integrated, the vibes felt crappier and crappier.
Yep.
Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I really think it's starting to turn into like a couple things. I think it's certain dudes knowing that they're getting traded or knowing that they're being currently shopped that are playing for themselves. It's like, all right, well, if I'm out of here, I'm going to go get mine. I think that makes an impact on a younger player that had he was playing really good basketball. And I think we've had a couple games where he's deferred and been kind of taken out in that sense. And I don't know. I don't think you're reaching here. I think it's totally fair to say this team's lost 4 of their last 5 games after winning 4 of their 5 games before that. Like, they won 4 or 5 and people legitimately were like, Whoa, you beat Toronto, you killed them, you were up on Boston, you controlled it, you were right there with Miami.
Remember when I pushed back a little bit on the Toronto game afterwards when I looked at their schedule? I was like,
yes.
You know what? They were gassed. They were entirely gassed. I looked at what they had coming into that game, and I was like, that's why that game probably felt that way. And ever since then, Toronto's been on an absolute tear, going down to Miami and winning down there in triple overtime.
Well, let me ask you, though. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Well, I was just exactly where I was just going to go get.
They've played nothing but road games. I mean, I think 9 of their last 11 games, Portland has been on the road.
Yes. They had the 2 home games.
That's what I'm saying. The 2 home games are wedged at the end there, but they went on that 6-game trip, then they come home for 2. They get clobbered in one of the games, and then they lose the other one to Minnesota, and then they go on a 3-game. Yeah, and then they go to the 3-game roadie. Again, I still think there's deeper issues with this team, but I'm also thinking out loud, 9 of 11. They
could be burned 100%. And that was
a tough stretch.
And so here's the thing: you have got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You have 5 whole games until the trade deadline. That is it. 5 games. The trade time cometh. Whether or not they're going to do something, we will know shortly. 10 days. 10 days.
Do you think they wait to the deadline, or do you think we get a deal early?
I think we do get one early.
Utah's got to be getting Cove now, right? That feels like the easiest
I've
one
got 4 text messages out hoping to get some answers how desperate Utah is right now.
They have to be. I mean, when the rumors come out about Donovan, you have to win.
The problem is the only thing they have left is a first-round pick in 2026 or 2027, which Utah, being a small market team, is not going to want to go that far for Cove. I think they would for Nance if that's what they really needed. I think Nance is a better player and you have more control over him and he's a little bit younger. But I do think that's certainly they may, because they're so injured and they're so beat up right now, that they may perhaps push their chips in. It's interesting. So we'll get out of here on this because we've just beat this horse to death. Obviously, the Portland Trailblazers come back to Los Angeles on Wednesday. They take on the Lakers. Looks like AD might go. LeBron maybe. We'll see.
He played in their last game. AD did.
Yeah, but
Braun's sitting right now.
Yes, I think they might. I think honestly, if Braun comes back, I think they might sit AD. Stagger some rest. So
that team is a disaster.
Yes, they are too. But a different kind of disaster than the Blazers because their top end guy is better than the Portland top end guy right now. So
right.
And again, after that they have the Thunder, then the Bucks, then the Magic, and the Lakers again. So 2 games against the Thunder, 2 games against the Lakers, sandwiched in between the Bucks and the Magic. So I will be at the Bucks game.
Hey, all right, my man.
I have decided that I'm going to.
Yes.
I'm going to go see Giannis.
Yes, you're gonna love it. 3 times.
Yeah. I haven't seen him live in 3 years.
He is unbelievable.
So I am going to go check out that game. I've already contacted the Blazers to get my credentials.
Are you going as Jack Ramsays or are you going as something else?
Oh,
Blazers
yeah.
Edge.
No.
All right.
Jack Ramsey's credentials, buddy.
Jack Ramsays on the credential, but you better tweet that bitch out.
No, it's going to come out. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Don't worry. Listen, man. I mean, certain people are no longer with the organization, so
a little more flexibility.
A little more flexibility there. They know the credentials can say whatever they need to say.
Well, they're gonna get their ass kicked by the Lakers on Wednesday, but hey, it
is what it is.
It's a therapy session.
So Wednesday we do have the game. Thursday we'll have the watch party, the live show. Then I should point out to everybody, we are going to do a live trade deadline day show. I believe that the thought is we will go at 11 and then into noon, and then probably we'll go past that just because the latest transactions usually go probably 25, 30 minutes past that.
Yeah, I want to just add to what you're saying. I don't think we do one for Cuff.
I think we'll do a quick emergency pod of, hey,
here's
maybe
a 20-minute thing or something, but
We're not doing an
diving
hour-long thing
into
for that.
it.
No.
Yeah.
But trade deadline day, yes, we will do a deadline show and kind of.
Or if CJ or Nurkic dealt, like that's
Yes.
worthy of going. So
yes, so we will have a ton of coverage. Whatever happens, we will find a way to get to you as quickly as possible. So,
right.
Like, rate, review, subscribe. If you're watching here on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's easy. If you want to become a member, all you have to do is click join. $2.99 a month. It gets you into all of the watch parties from here throughout the rest of the season. It'll get you into the drawings that we have for tickets, and as well as the Evan Prips. Oh, god dang it, I just moved them. I've got a couple of extras here that I'm going to go ahead and put in there post All-Star break to give out, and a bunch of other stuff that we're building into it. So we'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Until then, thank you all very much. You can find us on social media at Jack Ramsays, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. You can email the show at jacksramsays@gmail.com. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and don't let the losses kill you, because it'll end you. It'll end you.
Losses are good.
They are. All right, you guys, take care.